Hi, I'm Emme. Welcome to my homestead. So there are two things that I seem to constantly be doing in my household. Well, more than two things, but two primary things. And those are laundry and dishes. With a rather large household, I do a lot of each. Now, do you remember a few weeks ago when we made some homemade soap from lard? Well, the soap has been curing for a few weeks, and now we'll be using the soap today to make some dish soap. And then next time we'll make laundry soap. So, are you ready? Let's go make some dish soap. So, we're going to start making some dish soap. Now, when I first started making my own dish soap, I was a little disappointed. You know, the dish soap that we get at the store has all these agents in them that super clean and give you lots of bubbles. Well, this won't do that. I'm not going to lie to you. However, it works really well. I like it. I prefer it to all the weird chemicals I find in the soaps I can get at the store. This is much better, I think, for my family, for my septic system, and for the environment. You only need a few things to do this. First, we'll start with the soap that we made a few weeks ago. You don't need very much of it, and we'll be using a lot more of it for our laundry detergent later. We also need, not to throw things around, we also need some washing soda. This is often used as a booster for laundry, but it does really well to help with your own homemade dish soap. We need vinegar. Don't worry, we don't need this much vinegar. We do need a little bit. It helps cut through the grease so that it's much easier to clean your dishes. I also use vegetable glycerine. I use this, it helps create a few bubbles. Still not as many as you may be used to, but I like how it works. Two things you may want to include tea tree oil. This is not necessary, but a lot of people like it for its antibacterial properties. And the other thing that I like to use is a little lemon essential oil. I think it smells nice, it helps cut through some of the grease, and it also has some antimicrobial, antibacterial properties. My brain just turned off for a moment, but that's okay, because it's good stuff. So, what we're going to start with is grating some of our soap. Now here, I have a grater that I dedicate to things like doing soap or beeswax. I don't like to cross-contaminate. So what we'll do is I'll just grate this soap until using the finest grate possible. And I find it best to grate my soap a few days prior to using it. It helps it dry out, and so it's easier to use. And if you want to, you can crumble it much easier. For this recipe, we don't need a lot of soap. We only need about a tablespoon. We'll start with 1.5 cups of boiling water. And to that, I'll add 1 tablespoon of my shredded soap, Now I am using a homemade soap, but if you want to, you can use a different soap, such as anything that's a low sud soap. Into this, I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of my washing soda. And I'm simply going to stir this together so that the soap has melted into the boiling water. You can see I do have some suds. And I'll continue stirring that for a while until this cools, and to make sure all of the soap is disintegrated. I'll also be adding 1 tablespoon of my vegetable glycerine. And 1 tablespoon of vinegar. And stir these. And now, so I'm going to stir these for a while. So now that I've mixed everything together, I'm going to stir it for a little while and just let it cool. Now, I'll be letting this cool for a few hours, but then after that time, I'll be adding a little lemon essential oil and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of tea tree oil. And then we'll have some dish soap. So now that we've waited a little while, probably not long enough, I'm pretty impatient and kind of lazy. I really don't like to wait. But we've waited a little while, and this has cooled. It's no longer boiling water, and the soap is thickening some. It's not super thick, but it is thick. It's not water any longer. So now I'll be adding two ingredients that aren't necessary, but they can be nice to add. So I'll add some tea tree oil, and to this I'm adding about 1/8 of a tablespoon. I'll add some lemon, and that I'm adding only about, again, 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm stirring it. And then, obviously, I don't want to do my dishes from this container. So I have this little creamer container that I like to use. I don't have a top for it yet, but I'm working on that. And I will just pour. Let's go down so you can see. And so see here, I'm simply going to pour my soap into my container. So I've poured my soap into my container to make sure that everyone knows that this is not drinkable. I'll let it cool a little longer, and then I'll be able to do some dishes. Thanks for joining us as we're making some dish soap, and I hope that you get to go try it. But here we go. Time for me to do another dish. Thanks for joining. Go make some soap, and I'll see you next time.